What's up, YouTube? So I've been getting a ton of questions about how I'm sequencing my kick and bass in the Eurorack synthesizer, and it's actually so simple, such a cool little trick that I want to show you guys. It just involves 3 modules, and that's pretty much it. Let's dive in and have a look. So in my previous Eurorack explorations video, I mentioned how I had got myself the disting. I started loading my kick and bass there in a multi-sample patch to trigger them both at the same time. But ultimately the goal was to have 2 separate instruments to be able to do that because of a really cool trick I like to use with the Euclidean Circles, this over here. So for those who are unfamiliar with this module, how it works is it generates Euclidean rhythms, and when you turn this circle up, I'm not sure if you guys can see those dots represent triggers in the sequence, and the orange dots represent one of the triggers, and the blue dots are the alternating trigger. So for the first bank of rhythms, we have the output for the orange nodules over here and the output for the blue ones over here. So if we set it to like a 4 out of 16 pattern like this, it's going to generate kick triggers over here and bass triggers over here, and neither of them will ever coexist. Let's just clock the Euclidean circles with a tempo. As you can see, the ring starts spinning over here. So let's send this one output to the trigger over here, and you'll see we're getting flashing outputs over there. Let's put the 4 output to trigger this disting, which is my bass module. So we can see we've got these alternating outputs. Let's send these two to a mixer. So I'm just going to send, and then send this output into my DAW. So the coolest thing about this technique is when you move these triggers, when you add triggers to the kick, it subtracts triggers from the bass. So none of these triggers can ever coexist. So that means you can get these really cool like builds and these kind of like fills at the end of bars by just playing around with the settings over here. Check this out. So because these are multi-sample modules, I've set it up so that the kicks correspond to the specific pitches, basses correspond to the specific pitches. So we could, for example, generate a specific CV. You can also split them up, so you can have the separate rings of the Euclidean circles doing the separate things, for example, the kick and the bass. So this is a nice way of creating these groovy bass lines like this. we could also potentially send a sequence to the bass using a sequencer that we could program in over here on this side. Let's just go to sequence 5. Awesome, that's about it. Nice and simple. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments and hit that like button. If you haven't yet, consider subscribing. See you guys next time. Cheers.